Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Cropper here. This is a spillover room, and I may not be attending it for very long. I don't know if anyone's even going to come, but there were 10 people and it wasn't being recorded, so they said they would come. We'll see if they show up. And just adding a few things around, getting everyone awares. In Pyrrho's room, we had just gotten to the point where we were talking about ethics and the definition of altruism, and I proposed the definition of altruism as the essence of evil. The definition of evil is altruism, and that, of course, lit a fire under their ass. So it was just getting juicy, and I said, look, we can't do this because we've got to keep it recorded. We can't sit here off air and during a video call and iron out philosophy. So here is the room. I'm set up and ready. Nobody's coming. Is anybody here yet? No, I'm alone so far. So we shall see. All right. You can join by clicking in the comments down below. Reload if you don't see the comments. I just put it on. You can join by going to my Facebook. And I might have Johann Ratz joining. He's just messaged me on Facebook. We'll just send him the link and see if he pops in. And I don't know exactly who's going to come. There were 10 people in Pyrrho's room, and about 5 of them said, yeah, they'd come to a new room. So we'll give them a couple of minutes and see what happens. But the discussion about altruism was just heating up, and Andrew and Vic were discussing, they were getting down to the fact that we had to define what selfish was and how is that word to be used. And is Ayn Rand abusively using it, or is she using it properly and objectively? And yeah, it was getting meaty. So I'm going to save my voice and kick back and see if anybody comes in. Sorry, viewer, if you want to join, you can join clicking down below and various other places. Facebook. Ah, we have a citizen. Mr. Red.
How are you? Just sent the thing, so. I was arguing with some people on climate change today and the other day, and it's so stupid. I mean, there is like a little bit of climate change, but we look at the chart. You know how much there is?
How much? Very little.
0.9 degrees Celsius over the last 150 years.
Wow.
Now, you think about it, you've heard of the Zeroth law of thermodynamics, I'm sure. You know, systems in connection with each other will reach equilibrium, right?
Well, now is it the case that everyone accepts 0.9 as the fact?
Well, I don't know if everyone, but that's what that was shown, and I think that was generally accepted. But it's like it's so tiny that it's like, who cares?
Yeah,
and that's 0.9 over 0.9 over a year. I mean, if it was changing, it was like 0.9 every year for a decade. Then I might start getting concerned. But like, it's 0.9 over a span of 150 years.
I don't think they realize the other chat is that this chat is up.
Oh, can you go tell them? I'm not allowed to visit it now.
Alright, let me go up in there. I'll go back. How the hell do I get back? Hold on. I'm lost. I'm trapped in here.
Oh, Vic, Mr. Johann Ratz, have you guys met?
I don't think so.
He's Pythagorean. He believes the universe is made of numbers.
Really?
Sure.
That's
well, I'm actually
interesting.
an idealist, so but it's in a specific way that's like kind of approximates the Pythagorean view. So.
Huh.
He's
made of numbers. So concrete things, physical things, are made of abstract concepts. Weird.
Yeah, well, that's see, it's in my view. There's finding some things in physics that are, shall we say, strange. They call them quantum non-realism, emergent space-time, and so on. And then when I did my background in philosophy, I did some philosophy of mind, and I realized a lot of the materialist models of the mind don't make sense. And when you put them together, I mean, you can make an argument just from idealism for philosophy of mind alone. You can make it very simple and very convincing in itself, but people kind of balk at it because it just seems so crazy, right, on the face of it.
Mm-hmm.
But when you combine it with the physics, it becomes relatively strong. Like you can see, like you can actually kind of start to see how it would make sense. And so the idea is that it's not just numbers by themselves; it's numbers rounded into kind of a mind. It's immaterial. It's all
Mind. Oh.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a simulation, a matrix simulation of sorts, and you're interacting with the data and rendering it.
Interesting. So are you like some sort of like pantheist?
Well, panentheist might say. I'm an idealist, so.
Okay. Interesting. How would you go about proving your theory? Or
Well,
disproving it even?
they have some experiments specifically that you can use to test what they call quantum non-realism, which has actually been done thus far. And then you can use that in combination with entanglement, and they have a very specific quantum gravity model that they're modeling space-time as being emergent from entanglement. Okay. So, and there are some specific tests you can do about that. Like, for example, does entanglement increase gravity? And they have some very strong mathematics that suggest this, and now they're working on experiments as well. I think one of the experiments came out actually that it does increase the gravity of a system. So when you do that, you can prove that space-time emerges from entanglement. The next step then, or entangled information, and then they already proved that it's information about because it's quantum non-realism thing. But you can then combine that with theory in cognitive science. Hold on one second here.
Yeah, Mr. Ratz and I have been down very far this road, and we found that he thinks the mind created everything, and I think that everything is made out of rocks.
Right. So the last step then is to test something called integrated information theory, which says that consciousness is integrated information, or information such that you can't dissociate two elements. And the guy in my home state, Giulio Tononi, is a famous cognitive scientist. He argued this, and in his paper, he identified entangled information as a form of integrated information. And there are a lot of tests you can do of integrated information theory. So essentially, if you can test integrated information theory, and you can also test this emergent space-time from entanglement model, those two combined would be enough to prove the theory.
Vic, did you care to take a foray into the definition of selfishness?
Say that again? Did I want to define selfishness?
Oh yeah, because you guys are still arguing about that. Right? So.
Yeah, I think we discussed that the last time, and selfishness, at the end of the day, everything that you do on some level you could say is selfish, because you have to value it on some level, either in principle or whatever, so something that's going to benefit you in some way, right? If it's a willful act, right?
I remember now. Well, that's the argument from psychological egoism.
Right, but that's not what we really mean by selfishness. Like if I go downstairs to, I don't know, get a banana or something, I don't consider that to be a selfish act. You know what I mean? It kind of implies, selfishness kind of implies that it's going to hurt someone else in some way.
Yeah, now isn't that insane? That's what I remember covering this last week, though. But if you don't think that's insane...
I don't see why that's insane. That's just what it means. That's the concept it denotes.
No, it's a package deal, and it's not a correct concept. It's like the way that people use certain words incorrectly, and then scientists define them more correctly.
I think the reason you find it insane is because you find that term to be normative. So like you see that selfishness is a bad thing, right? So because that definition doesn't comport with what you consider to be bad behavior, then that's why you don't like that definition.
Okay, show me an example of it in real life. What's up?
I don't see it as normative. I mean, you can be selfish and not necessarily.
How about a person burning money? What a person burning a millionaire? They're burning money. Is that selfish?
I couldn't hear you. Say that again.
That a person's burning money.
I don't know any motivation.
There's a lot of background noise coming from Joannen's mic, but
let me fix it.
Okay, he said a person burning money.
Oh, burning money. Is that
Yeah.
selfish? Is that the question? Is that selfish?
Yes, is that selfish?
No, it wouldn't even apply. Like that word doesn't even apply, really.
Okay, give Brandon an example of what you mean by selfishness, or just your example of what
I
selfish.
think Gary would probably say it's selfish because Gary feels like you have some fucking duty to not waste anything and like,
All right, well,
I
what do you think
guess.
is personally selfish then, Vic? Like, give an example, basically.
Selfish would be um
Has to hurt somebody else, right?
yeah, so doing something for your own benefit that unduly affects someone else negatively.
Like stealing
So,
from the workplace.
yeah, there you go.
Now, what if you get caught and you go to jail and you lose your house and your wife leaves you? How selfish is that?
Oh, it becomes different. Now, you're not talking about selfishness. Now you're talking about morale. Is it ethical to do that? And then it becomes it becomes fuzzy because at some point you have to balance. Okay, what's more important, the being honest with your employers or the welfare of your family? So again, it's a value judgment. There's no objective right or wrong answer here. It's ultimately a preference.
Well, then you're saying a selfish person would steal the money and ruin their life, and a self-sacrificing person would not steal the money and have a good, happy life. And that's insane.
Well,
Okay,
there's a middle ground, right? You don't have to be all self-sacrificing. You know? I mean,
Well, and
again,
nobody in the real world is like that either.
okay, wait.
right.
So I have a question then. Brandon, from your perspective, do you think that any sort of like negative, to yourself, that helps someone else with that still be on par with, like giving away all your money? Like with basically anything that hurts you, I guess, as the individual when it comes to giving, when it comes to like taking from yourself to give to somebody else with that.
Okay, so I view it as though there's a hierarchy of values, and some things are more important than others. And you have to decide, like, if your mother-in-law gets in a car accident and needs $1,000 from you immediately, are you going to help her out, or is it more important to have the $1,000 and not see her get helped out? So that's up to you. And it may be that you can't pull the $1,000 out of your ass, and so she goes without or dies or whatever, doesn't get a medicine or whatever. So
Right.
Would you say that's evil from your
everything has to be. It's on. If the $1,000 is too valuable to you, you don't give it to her, and she dies.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Depends on your values. It depends on your values. Everything is on your values. Okay, you've got thousands and thousands of dollars you can either spend on college or on like a house or a car or something.
So you're saying that's actually a great example. So you're telling me your grandmother is dying, right? And she needs $1,000. Let's suppose you're a millionaire, right? But instead of using those $1,000 to help your grandmother, you use it at a fucking strip club or some shit. You just blow it on a fucking stripper. You're telling me that should be that taking that money away from the stripper and giving it to your grandmother, to be selfless essentially, that would be evil in your opinion?
I don't know. If my grandmother was a mean old bitch and the stripper had kids that she needed to feed.
It depends how you value.
Well, of course,
grandmother.
it's different. Yeah, you're changing the situation. But again, this is at the end of the day, it's still a value judgment. No one can determine whether this is evil or not evil.
Right. Everything's
Ultimately,
within a context. Everything's within a context.
yeah.
Everything. Yeah, that's no problem. As long as we agree that everything's within a context, we don't have to have vacuous statements about all reality.
But how you establish that context, the goal within that context is ultimately subjective, right? You choose it. It's a preference.
Yeah, but there are objective truths about
Okay.
consequences within those.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But that's not the same as objective values, objective morals. That's not the same thing. It's
There are
just
things that are objectively true given your choices.
Yes, but that's not the same as an objective value.
There are things that are objectively valuable to you given what you've chosen to value.
This is fun.
That's different.
This is a lot of fun.
That is different. I know what you're talking about. You're saying that you should value if you value this as your ultimate goal. What we're talking about here is the ultimate goal, right? The ultimate goal and how you prioritize that. Because a lot of times people don't have just one goal, right? They have many different goals, right? So you have to decide which one has more priority than the other. Right? It's not as simple as that.
You only have one goal.
But so what you're saying is, if you have a certain goal and you have this, you give this top priority, let's say, then at that point there are certain things that you should value objectively, or things that you should do, I think is a better way to say it, in order to achieve that ultimate goal, that top priority goal for yourself. That's not what people ordinarily mean by objective values. That's just not. Like, what they're saying is that there are certain things, certain goals that you just, whether you prefer it or not, you should prefer it. Period. End of story.
Well, okay, so what ordinary people don't normally mean what by velocity or by gravity? I don't care what ordinary people. What is
fine.
this
Then
mean?
fine. Then in your context and in the way you're defining objective value, then yeah, I suppose I accept objective. But it's a moot. It's irrelevant, because that's not what people ordinarily mean by that. So you're just basically skirting around the issue. The real issue is, is there such a thing as an objective, like, full stop goal, regardless of your other preferences? Just this goal, this is objectively binding.
Objective means in the context, right?
Well, no. It's ordinarily objective means without regard to personal opinion.
Absolute.
We're
It
talking.
doesn't mean absolute.
And we're talking about an action by an individual, and you're asking what could be objectively true or valuable for that individual's actions.
No, what we're saying is, like, if everybody died, if there were no people, if nobody existed anymore, these values would still exist. These values would
No.
still be objective.
No.
People should still, in
No.
theory.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Well, then you don't believe in objective moral values.
Well, then you misunderstand what the word objective means.
No, I'm telling you, this is what people mean. This is what makes it controversial, is because some people actually think that you should not murder people
What
unnecessarily.
do you mean when you
Like-
say objective values? Let's get
Like-
that out of the way.
I'm telling you, sometimes philosophers are more careful with words than the rabble.
Okay, Brandon, what do you mean when you say objective values?
Something that's actually true. So if you've chosen to live, it's true that eating pebbles would not further your goal.
But that doesn't mean it's immoral.
And if you
It's just
chose
a totally different. It would be irrational, but it wouldn't be immoral. It'd be irrational to do something that doesn't efficiently achieve your goal, right? Yeah. But the question is it unethical? Is it ethical?
yes, it's immoral.
So you're saying it's unethical, it's immoral
To eat
to
pebbles.
not achieve your goal.
If you want to live and you eat pebbles, that's immoral.
So if I want to live my life as a serial killer, that's my goal, right? To maximize my own pleasure
Oh,
that way, by killing people and raping people and...
remember, you have to act with Kant's categorical imperative that everyone else can do the same, so you allow yourself
Sure, fine. No. Well, wait, no. I don't. First of all, I don't have to adopt the categorical imperative, because that...
to do automatically when you wake up and breathe, you accept it.
Say you're Kim Jong-un, right? Or the dictator, leader of North Korea. Now, I think we would agree that as long as Kim Jong-un doesn't overstep his bounds and start fucking threatening South Korea, China, the United States, and he keeps to himself and he just oppresses his own people, he could probably keep that shit up for the rest of his life and lead a very cushy, comfortable, happy life, being a fucking tyrant and an asshole, right?
He's
So-
afraid for his life every
You
day.
think he's happy? Why do you think he's
Yeah.
happy? You know
Because
him?
he gets it, because he can
Talk
rape
to him.
whoever he wants, he can do whatever he wants, he's in complete control.
No, I don't think so.
No, he's afraid for his life every day. He's afraid of a massive war that would destroy him and everything he knows.
You know, we don't really know what he's like.
So
None of
okay,
us
so
have-
so if he were, hypothetically, okay, because this is all conjecture now, hypothetically, if he is totally comfortable being the tyrant that he is, and he feels perfectly safe, not stressed, no anxiety, happy as can be, being an evil tyrant little fuck, and he doesn't have any good reason to think that this is gonna have any negative consequences to him ever, you're saying that it's perfectly moral for him to
No.
do that.
Didn't I say the categorical imperative? Everyone else should be able to act in exactly the same way as you, and I think consequent, but
Everyone should
have
be
to
able
accept
to
the golden
act.
rule. If you have a right to do something, everyone else has the same right.
Okay.
Okay, so that's your objective morality basically. Then just everybody should have the right to do the same thing to each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah.
As long as that's preserved,
Then we're
then it doesn't really matter what you do. So that means if he's okay then with, you know, taking on that burden, like it's worth the risk, right? And he's okay with that, then he should just continue to be the little tyrant, right?
But then I'm
As
guessing.
long as you're allowing, as long as they're free, if they're free to try to rebel, they're free to try to overthrow him if they want. He's okay with that, then
But
you're
then,
saying it's fine.
from what I understand of Brandon's argument, is that it's not because whenever you wake up, all of these values and such are like shared. So when you are a tyrant to somebody else, they can be a tyrant to you, and they can basically do the same shit. Is that
They
correct?
can try, but they're obviously not going to succeed in the current state that they're in, right? I mean, and what about when you're just exploiting people, right? Like literally these people are brainwashed, right? Since birth, because they control the media, they control everything. So these people don't even, a lot of times they don't even think to rebel, right? They worship the guy as a fucking god because of all the propaganda he feeds into them in schools, on TV. So they would never even think. So you're saying that that's okay, then I guess because
no, because
they don't even want to rebel, Brandon. They don't want to overthrow him.
One second.
you have to initiate force against people. And initiation of force is evil, it's anti-life, it's anti-value. Welcome to the thing, Superfin Guy.
Thank you.
Yeah, good.
Vic,
man.
you met your match. Superfin Guy's from Italy, but
Hey, Brandon. I gotta get off for a second to get something, do something. Okay, so
all
see you
right.
back later. Maybe I'll see.
If you come back, hopefully you can get him onto physics.
All right. See ya.
All right. Yeah.
Are
Oh,
you from Italy too, Superfin guy?
Just seems.
me no. I'm actually who's from Italy is Massimo. I'm from
Yeah,
I
that's
live in the
what I thought,
United
yeah.
States.
That's right.
I'm living in the United States, but I'm originally from Cape Verde.
Yeah, I think I don't know why I get you two mixed up.
Yeah, probably because of the accent.
Accent. Yeah, kind of close. But not.
Yeah, so Vic.
So again, you said there's this. So you think that's an objective moral value then, to not harm other people?
Everything's in a context.
But
and
why?
If your context is to value your own life, then you cannot hurt other people. You can't initiate force.
Why?
Yeah.
Because that's
if you have total control, right? If you have control of the population, control the security guards, or you have a massive weapon, right, that can keep these people in check, right? Then how are you not valuing your own life?
You're throwing your life away. You're destroying your life.
How? In what way? He gets everything he wants.
Let me interject for a moment, because what he's doing is nothing creative or good, because he will destroy his his slaves, and he will end up destroying himself too, because what he's doing is in the grand scheme of things destructive.
Again, who's defining destruction here? You're saying that he's destroying himself. He's saying that he's not destroying himself. On the contrary, he's uplifting himself.
I don't
this
think
is
so. I don't
the
think so,
optimal
because
state of existence for him, according to him.
no. Like that person is a human being, right? If he's doing something that harms a human being, he's destroying himself. It doesn't matter what he thinks, because I can say that jumping off a building is okay. It's my preference, but in the end it will destroy me, of course. So that doesn't mean.
Again, if he takes the proper precautions, like I said, if he's not actively, overstepping his bounds, trying to threaten the United States, lobbing bombs or missiles into South Korea or China, right? I can't see why he would ever be overthrown.
I get what's
because he's abusing people. He's abusing people.
But a lot of times they don't even know it, right?
Wait,
he has such a tight grip on those people that they can't rebel. Like anybody who tries to rebel is immediately squashed.
This is
right?
I don't know.
And on top of that, he brainwashes them since birth
We're
through the
inventing a
media, through
fantasy.
school. This isn't This is what's happening over there.
Okay,
There's a
this
lot
is
of
what I think is being
discussing
said.
The only reason, in my opinion, that he should feel stressed is because of the shit that he's doing with South Korea and his posturing in that part of the world. If he would just stop doing that and just be a happy little tyrant, like basically like Castro, right? He could die a happy old fat man.
All right, this is what I think is being said. Any action that in any way can lead to one's own destruction, whether or not it seems unlikely, is evil. Is that correct, Brandon? And is that
Superfin.
it? Is that essentially it? Superfin guy.
Well, could you say that again, please? I didn't get the
Basically,
question.
any action that leads to one's own destruction, no matter how unlikely it is, that's the point you're making, right?
No, not
Yeah,
necessarily.
yeah. It's well. I guess it's if you're headed in that direction, yes.
Well, you can
Okay.
be in the military.
Okay,
You could be in the military.
take for example, in North Korea, the dictator there, what's his name? Jing Hon. Can't forget his name, but ultimately he'll be destroying himself because, like for example, in a free society, people can come up with new technologies, for example, like for example, life extension, and or ways to treat diseases, like by keeping people ignorant and oppressed. Those things will never come into fruition. So he's
Yes,
harming
it
himself
will,
in so many
because
ways.
yes, it will come to fruition. You're going to tell me that he can't use the products that are created and manufactured in China, America, all around the world. Of course he can. He enjoys all that shit all the time. What are you talking
Well,
about? His people don't get to enjoy,
Wait,
but he
what?
does.
because he has no influence.
He doesn't want the influence. They have plenty of resources to create the goodies for him, right? Come on.
Well,
How much innovation do you expect from?
listen. He's being threatened by the United States, by South
Yeah,
Korea.
right.
It's only a matter of time till he's destroyed.
Right.
So
No. It's
Not a good
the only reason that he is right now being threatened and he feels threatened is because of the shit that he's doing, the posturing that he's doing over there. He's lobbing missiles and shit. I'm saying if he was just
well,
content, if he suddenly changed his behavior and he was content with just being a happy little tyrant to his own people, right?
You
And he
can't
didn't
be
like
happy with
and he didn't do this with others and he didn't like overstep his bounds, right? He could live that way.
No, we cannot.
Okay, explain why he can't, why he cannot.
This